Orkney Brewery, Northern Light Pale Ale.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. I've got another one here from the Orkney Brewery, and it is their Northern Light Pale Ale. Now, in a month where I've been trying out some really good pale ales, most notably the one from the Hepworth Brewery, the Sussex Pale Ale, I thought I would give this lot a go. Now, the Orkney Brewery are a really good brewery. I've not had a bad one from them so far, and I think it's only fitting that I try their pale ale. I haven't tried this one before, and the reason being is there's so many other good ones that looks more interesting on the description. Notably the Skull Splitter, which is akin to an old ale, if you like, 8% dark ale, dark strong ale. You've got Dark Island, which is another good dark strong ale, and you've also got the Red McGregor, which is a red ale, and they're three of the ones I prefer from this brewery. They also do some really other good ones, even their golden ale, which I really didn't have much hope for. I tried that, you know, it was sort of against my better judgment, but I'm glad I did because it wasn't bad at all. Golden ale was a really dodgy sort of genre for British beer. There is so many bad ones, believe me, that you really are looking for diamonds in the dog shit when you're going for British golden ale. If you're interested, the Orkney Brewery one is really good, and as well as the Fuller's Honeydew, which is one of my favourites. That's like an organic sweetened golden ale, really good stuff. I drink that regularly. It's a nice one. But this one I've not had before. This is the Northern Light. It is a pale ale, as they say. A quick bit about the brewery. They've been going since 1983, I think. They're based in the Orkney Islands, as if you need to be told that. And they do some good beer. They're very proud of their, was it Orcadian? What is it? What is the native? Orcadian? I think it's Orcadian. I think they're very proud of their Orcadian roots. They have a big link or a big theme going with the Viking stuff. You know, the Orkney Islands were settled by the Vikings, and they've taken on that heritage. I really like that, and I like the way that they're proud of their traditions, which I think, you know, every brewer should be, regardless of where they come from. I'm sure every area has got its own traditions, and you know, it's all well and good doing your craft beer stuff with all your cartoons and all that. I'm not knocking that. You know, it's a new thing, but you know, you could be in danger of losing these traditions, and to be honest, it would be a fucking tragedy if this sort of beer got left behind. But here we are with a bottle of this stuff. Let's investigate it. Let's see what's going on. This is a pale ale. It is 4%. It's a 500ml bottle. I haven't had a chance to look at the description online. I normally do a bit of research, but for some reason I just haven't got around to it. What have we got on here? It says this pale ale, or this pale coloured beer, offers appealing citrus fruits, apricot and hop resin aromas. That sounds like it may have American hops in it. I really hope not. And the fuck did real pale ale start having American hops in? Does it say it on the side? On the palate, the fruits combined with delicious juicy malt. Juicy malt? Where the fuck do you get juicy malt from? Malt is not juicy. Hops are juicy. Malt isn't. Give a beer a hoppy, zesty approachability. Balanced, elegant and compelling. Maybe I should have researched this and seen what hops they're using. In fact, before I do, let me just have a look at the hops, because I can tell a lot by the hops before I even try it. So, be back presently. Right, just had a look. They don't say it on here, it contains Saat hops, it contains Hersbrucker hops, and it contains Perla hops. So they're 3 German hops. Now that is good. It also contains crystal malt as well, which is even better. So that's a lesson for me. Always do your research before you review a beer. I see some beer reviewers and they just pick a beer up and they just fill it out and give you what their opinion of it is. But I like to give you a little bit of the background to the beer, the hop character that is in there, and what it transfers to on the palate. You can say what you like about hops, but they do influence the beer. The yeast strain is also very important as well, as is the malt. But the hops and the yeast are 2 really big factors in how a beer will taste. And don't get me wrong, malt is so important as well. So I do like to get a bit of a background into what they are or what they are trying to produce with them hops. Now, just a quick one on them hops. The Saat hops, of course, is a noble hop. Not used so much in German beer. It's more in the Czech Pilsners that you get the Saat hops. You do get it in the occasional German beer, but it's more in your Czech Pilsners. And the Hersbrucker, I do see quite a lot. Hacker-Shaw use them, Hersbrucker hops, and Perla hops as well. You tend to find them 2 hops along with Hercules in some wheat beers. Now, with wheat beer, hops are immaterial. It is all about the yeast with the wheat beer. So there you go. Anyway, I'm rambling. Let's get on to the beer. Let's get it home. Let's see what's going on. Right, that's given me a little bit of a lift because I thought there might be American hops in here with all the fruits that they're describing, and I was gonna go into a little bit of a downer because British Pale Ale or English Pale Ale does not have American hops. American Pale Ale, yeah, throw as much American hops as you want. If you're throwing American hops into English Pale Ale, maybe it's just me. Maybe I just like tradition. Being an old fucker, that's what we do. We don't like change. Maybe I should move up to Yorkshire. They actually do like change because they're so tight. Fucking hell, another nail in the coffin for me. There you go. Right, what are we getting on the nose? That's very clear, by the way. Very nice indeed. Reminds me a little bit of the gold nail. What are we getting on the nose? You can smell the quite sweet crystal malt before anything. Not bad. 4% is roughly, I think, the limit for English Pale Ale. I think once you start going over 4%, you're pushing it a little bit. I think the Timothy Taylor is around 4.1%. You can sort of get away with that. But I think when you start getting into the 5% on a Pale Ale, I don't think it works. Pale Ale is not meant to be like that. It's meant to be sessionable, it's meant to be light, it's meant to be refreshing, and it's the alternative. It's the thinking man's lager, if you like. There is quite a sweet, creamy, fruity style aroma to that. A little bit of grassy note on that, a little bit of a grassy note. And a touch of earth too. But the flavours are sort of, or the aromas I should say, are dissipating quite quickly. There it is in the glass. Lovely straw colour. Nice big foamy 1.5 finger white head. Let's get it down the hatch. Bottoms up. Quite nice. Not outstanding, but not bad. It's quite well balanced actually. You've got a fair bit of the hop character coming through there and some of the malt as well, and it gives it quite a balanced easy drinking pale ale, English pale ale style flavour. Now, if you're a fan of the big American hops, big citrus, big juicy style dank flavours that you sometimes get, the big grapefruit and resin. I mean, they said resin on here. I'm not getting that at all. Did they say, yeah, hop resin? I'm not getting that at all. What I get from hop resin, it's usually pine needles. You know, if you've got an old Christmas tree, probably not now, it's a little bit late for it now, but if you chew them, one of them pine needles, and apparently they're edible, but if you chew them, you get like a, well, you get like a pine needle flavour. That's what I interpret to being resin, and you can get that sort of flavour from hops as well. They say that's in there. I'm not really getting that, to be honest. Little touch of biscuit malt, really nice mouthfeel, subtle fruit. They're saying apricot. I had citrus fruits. Not really massive citrus. I'd say there's more malt character, earth, a little touch of spice on that. That crystal malt really does shine through. You get that big sweetness on top of the biscuit malt, and that's the most dominant flavour that I can get from this. But it's quite a nice drinkable pale ale. I have to say, I don't think it's as good as the Hepworth Sussex Pale Ale, but it's not bad. It is, I would say that is a typical English style pale ale. Now, they're probably going to hate me because they're based in Scotland, or I don't know, have they claimed the People's Republic of the Orkney Islands? I do not know, but it's nice, and it's very in keeping with the traditional style of English pale ale. It is slightly reminiscent of the Whitstable Bay Pale Ale that the Orkney Brewery do, getting very similar style of flavours that I did from that. They're using the German hops. The Shepherd Neame Brewery obviously use Kentish style hops, or certainly English style hops. But if you're a fan of that, you know, the Whitstable Bay, the who's the other one? The Westerham Brewery Pale Ale, the Triple X Pale Ale, very much like that. That got a 10 out of 10, the Triple X. I really did like that. This is slightly sweeter, but when I say sweeter, I think it's more to do with the yeast and the crystal malt on it. But it's nice. It's a good, and it's very drinkable as well. The mouthfeel is super smooth. That's really good. That is the perfect level of carbonation, in my opinion, because if you look at that, you can still see a fair amount of carbonation, but it's just enough not to be obtrusive, but it gets the flavours around the palate. And at 4%, you could knock back gallons of this stuff. Yeah, really nice. I do like that. So, what is the verdict on Northern Light? Yeah, it's not bad. And I've got a mark in my head, and I don't know whether this is me or not, but I try not to buy bad beer. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have reviewed some bad beer in the past, half expecting what it's going to taste like, and yeah, not being disappointed. But the beer I buy now, I tend to read the description to see if I'll like it. You know, some beer reviewers will buy a beer just for the hell of it, because it's an IPA, because it's a certain style of beer. but I tend to see what the flavours are, what the ingredients are, and if it looks like I'm not going to like it, or it's a style that I'm not keen on, I'm not going to buy it. So you're probably going to see a lot of beers on here that I actually like, which you might say is defeating the object, really, because I should be trying the bad beers as well. But I am so fed up spending good money on, you know, for example, the supermarket stuff. You know, that is brewed with not, well, I'll tell you what it's brewed with not in mind. It's not brewed with the consumer in mind, the discerning consumer, if you like, which is fine. You know, if you just like beer and you're not really into the flavours, you just want to have a beer that's relatively cheap, then supermarket beer, it serves its purposes. So I'm not knocking them for doing that. But for me to shell out my money on beer that I more or less know is going to be crap, I don't really want to do that, because I'm not rich. All the beers on this channel, there's, you know, you could probably count on two hands the amount of beers I've been given for free, and then from mates. You know, it's not as if I'm sponsored by anyone and all that. I don't want to be sponsored by anyone, really, because I don't want, to be honest, I don't really want people to send me beers like breweries and all that, because, you know, if it's shit, I'm going to tell them it's shit, and then, you know, they're probably going to think, well, he's a twat for saying our beer's crap. And I'm like, well, no, I'm going to be fucking honest. So I'd rather not. And if I, you know, spend my own money and the beer's shit, I've got a right to complain. So, yeah, well, that's just my philosophy. I just want to get this clear, because if you're looking at my videos and you're thinking, well, this cunt don't know what he's talking about. He's just fucking reviewing all these beers and he's giving them high marks. But the reason that is because I do try to get good beer to review. I really don't want to review shit beer that I know is going to be shit, and I buy it and I review it on here and it's just a rant. You know, and it might be entertaining for you, but my fucking blood pressure is going to go through the fucking roof when I rant it. But I cannot stand bad beer. When I say life's too short for drinking shitty beer, I'm half jesting, but the majority of me, well, I'm half jesting, but the majority, a little bit of me is saying that in jest, but I am quite serious about that, because I don't want to be drinking shit. I don't want to be spending hard-earned money on shit beer. I'm sure you don't either. So there you go. The point of all that was, this is going to get a high mark because it's not bad. It's not the best pale ale, but it's very good. I quite like it. I'd probably buy it again. If it was on tap in a pub, I'd probably drink it. I'm going to give it an 8.5. Now, you're probably thinking, this is where I'm coming from. You're probably thinking, well, he gives every beer 8.5. I don't. I give good beer 8.5. And this is a good beer. So there you go. Believe me, I am objective. You know, if someone came round and, you know, we sat here drinking Budweiser and all that, I'd tell you exactly what I think of Budweiser. I'll tell you exactly what I think of Carlin. I'll tell you exactly what I think of Heineken. You know, I'd tell you exactly what I think of John Smith's, etc. But I am fucked if I'm going to spend my money on crap like that. I won't do it. Newcastle Brown is another one. I won't do it because it'll just be a rant. And, you know, I don't see the point. I would not even encourage you. If I'm giving them advertising, you know, I'm just advertising their beer. You know, even if I say it's shit, what's the old saying? No publicity is bad publicity. Anyway, I need to have a fucking lie down. This lockdown is getting to me. Someone made a very good point actually today, subscriber. He was saying that the standard of beer has dropped during the lockdown. And there may be something to that, but I'll discuss that in another video. So there you go. And remember, beer is working class champagne.